Hello and welcome back to Fluttering Butterflies. My name is Michelle, and for today's video I'd really like to do like a mental health in YA wrap-up video in which I will be talking about the 8 or so books that I've read so far this year. I'm a big supporter of diversity in books. I love reading about people of colour, and I love reading about different sexualities, but one of the major areas of diversity that I am really keen to support is mental illness within books. It's something that I have dealt with quite a bit in my own life, and I'd really like to see more representation within literature. So for now I'm just going to quickly run through the books that I've already read this year, and then once that's done, hopefully I will be talking more about mental health, more about LGBT YA stories, more about people of colour in YA, and so on. But this video is sort of a catch-up, so I'm completely up to date. The very first book that I read in 2015 is a book called I'll Meet You There by Demetrios. This was a book that I had no prior knowledge of whatsoever, but I saw it on NetGalley. I really liked the cover of it, and I just decided on an absolute whim to request it. The girl is kind of saving up and hoping to move away and have a much better life somewhere else at university and do something with her life. And the boy is this returning soldier. He's had his leg. He's been involved in sort of a bomb, and part of his leg is now missing. He comes back. He's a very different person to the person that he was before he went off to war. And these two characters sort of meet at this hotel in the middle of nowhere and sort of reconnect and fall in love, and it's really, really sweet. I've included it here because Josh, I think his name is Josh, Josh, the male main character of this story, is dealing with some elements of PTSD from the experiences that he has gone through during the war. It was really, really interesting. It was nice to see some of his experiences and thoughts come through in this book. Now, the next book I want to talk to you about today is Game Changer by Tim Bowler. This is actually the first book by Tim Bowler that I've read, and it really makes me want to go back to his backlist and read a lot of his other ones, because as soon as I was particularly interested in reading it because Tim Bowler is a British author, and that's something that I do a lot to support on my blog and on this channel. But this book was about a main character who has a really bad agoraphobia, and his fear of open spaces is pretty extreme. He tries to sort of hide aspects of it and sort of to just get by, just sort of get through his life any way that he can. He really, like, his favorite things in the world are his sister and his cupboard, in which he can sort of close himself into a small dark space and just be content. But he sees something that he shouldn't have seen, and it turns into this like thriller, and I really thought that this aspect of a thrilling novel in which the main character is dealing with these sort of crippling fears was a really interesting idea. It really made me think and feel, and I really felt for this main character. The next book that I read was called Jessica's Ghost by Andrew Norriss. This is sort of a middle grade book. It's a really gentle, sweet story about a ghost and how she visits different characters in this school and this community. The first person that is able to see her is a boy, and he's not getting on very well at school. He is a boy who's really interested in fashion, and fashion and boys and a school environment don't go together very well. and through his friendship with Jessica, he's able to sort of have a little bit more confidence in himself and realize that it is okay to be different. It's okay to like things that other people don't like, as long as, you know, they make you happy. And I thought it was a really, really gentle and heartwarming story about friendship and being okay with yourself and your differences, as well as having a lot of really important messages about depression and suicide. It was a really sweet, gentle story, and I couldn't recommend it anymore. The next book that I read was called Break by Hannah Moskowitz. This was an ebook that I downloaded on a whim, and it's the story about a boy who has a very difficult home life again. His brother has a lot of really life-threatening allergies. His parents don't seem to be that bothered about it, and this boy sort of takes on all the responsibility for his brother, and as sort of a coping mechanism, he ends up going on this he has this sort of plan to break all of the bones in his body, and it was a really difficult book to read. In fact, it was really, really gut-wrenching and just hard, but I also really enjoyed this brotherly relationship that I felt was at the heart of the novel. Breaking the Rules by Katie McGarry. This is the sequel to Pushing the Limits, and it follows the same characters, Echo and Noah, following the end of Pushing the Limits. And Echo in particular is dealing with a lot of sort of post-traumatic sort of stress. She has a lot of anxiety, and from some of the events of her childhood. She's going through a lot. She has a lot of issues that she has to work through, and what I love about Breaking the Rules is that, and Pushing the Limits, is that talking therapy plays a really huge part in both of the novels, and you can really tell how much it helps Echo to talk things out with her therapist. Just quickly, I also read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Everyone and their mother has read Rainbow Rowell's Fangirl, so I won't talk about it too much, only to bring up the fact that the main character, Kath, is dealing with quite a lot of social anxiety in her first year of university. I really enjoyed the social anxiety aspect of the novel, and I thought it was really good. The final book that I wanted to talk to you about today is Panther by David Owen, and I'll leave a link down below to the review that I wrote for the book, and also an interview that I did with the author on my blog. But this was a really interesting and hard-hitting novel about the effects of depression and a suicide attempt on a family, and it's dealing with the effects that that occur around the people that we love who are dealing with depression. So the main character, Derek, is dealing with his own sort of disordered eating, and how her suicide attempt has changed the dynamics of his family and his life and everything. It was really, really interesting. That's it for me today. Those are some of the books that I've read recently involving mental illness. I'd love to hear any books that you've been reading. Let me know.